Satyanarayana started going to school. It's better to say that he started skipping classes at school. He would play games and get punished by his father and by the teachers at school. One day while Satyanarayana was playing with Narapareddy, he accidentally hit his hand against a sharp knife. The knife went through his hand. Reddy got frightened and started to scream. Satyanarayana was not worried at all. Calmly he pulled out the knife. Surprisingly, there was not a drop of blood from the wound and there was no sign of an injury at all. Reddy circulated the news in the entire village. The villagers wouldn't believe him and wanted to see if it was true and asked Satyanarayana to demonstrate again. Satyanarayana refused, and so no one believed Reddy's words. On another occasion, Satyanarayana was playing with a few children. He took a matchbox that had some matchsticks inside it. He shook the box, made the noise of the matches inside rattling, and then told his friends,
"See, there are no matches inside."
What did you do with the matches, Satya?
"Look inside."
He invited them to check. The kids looked inside and found the box empty. They searched all around and they searched him top to toe. They did not find the matches anywhere.
What happened? The box is empty now, but we can hear the rattle.
They replied,
Where did you hide them?
"Look inside."
Yeah, look. The box is empty. See for yourself.
"You can see inside the box again if you want."
Lo and behold, as soon as they looked again, the matches were inside the box.
Where did they go, Satya? Where did they go? You're hiding them somewhere? Show me, show me, show me.
They pestered him to tell the secret of the magic trick.
"It's not a trick."
Satyanarayana told them. The friends concluded,
I think your dad must have taught you some mantras.
That's where you learned to do these magic tricks.
Shastri also had witnessed some such instances. He started to get concerned if his son had started associating with a troupe of street magicians. Jayalakshmi came to know about it. She asked him why he demonstrated these tricks. He replied to her that he did not do them deliberately and that they just happened. The mother then just kept quiet. Satyanarayana wondered why she did not get angry. He tried to analyze the reason. When Satyanarayana was 8 years old, mother started to teach him yogasanas. She taught him the theory of yoga, and she proved to him that the stories that he had heard from her in the past, from Ramayana and Mahabharata, were in fact yoga shastras. When Satyanarayana was 9 years old, his mother started to teach him about herbs. His father Narasimha Shastri used to practice herbal medicine. He kept at his house several types of leaves, seeds, grasses and stones. He prepared many mixtures and pastes using them. He kept them in containers. Mother taught Satyanarayana the medicinal use of all those preparations. Shastri had the expertise in the use of poisonous extracts. He had a store of these at home to use in the case of dire emergencies. Mother appeared as though she was teaching Satyanarayana Shastras, but in the process, she actually took him into yoga and showed him the comparison between Shastra and yoga. Satyanarayana would recollect those points in deep meditation whenever he had the free time. Involuntarily, he was walking along the path of Sushumna and Chakrabhedanam. One day, Satyanarayana missed school and went for swimming in the pond with his friends. Shastri came to know about it and punished him severely that evening. Mother did not interfere. She did not teach him anything that night. Early next morning, Satyanarayana went to the medicine cabinet and consumed all the poisonous extracts. He turned blue within a few minutes when the poison started taking effect. Shastri became very panicky. To treat life-threatening situations, Shastri would pick up the extracts by a pinpoint. But this day, Satyanarayana had drunk the entire contents. Shastri had no knowledge of any antidote that could neutralize the poison that was inside the body of his son. He lost all hopes, and as a last resort, he prayed to all the known deities. Jayalakshmi, unable to do anything else, sat silently leaning against the wall. The villagers came in scores to pay their final respects. At about midday, the blue color started to fade and Satyanarayana's pulse became steady. Only God knows how the miracle happened. Shastri was convinced that it was all the prayers that he offered to God that brought his son back. Realizing the danger of keeping poisonous medicines in the house with children, he made a sudden resolve to quit entirely the practice of herbal medicine. He dug a large ditch at the back of the house and buried all the medicines. That was his way. If he took a resolve to do something, he would implement it no matter what. There was no room for deliberation. That night, Mother told Satyanarayana,
"You tested yourself, you won. That's fine." The poor householder had to give up one of his professions.
Satyanarayana dropped his head in shame. That night, Mother explained the mutual relationship that exists between the residents of Bhuloka and Swargaloka. She explained to him the system of yajna given by Lord Parameshwara as a support for both the lokas.
It is the wish of the Lord that all beings should attain enlightenment. Towards fulfilling this desire, He created these worlds. The entire system of creation is a wheel. Its axis is yajna. What then is yajna? The effort that is required to keep this wheel constantly in motion is yajna. It's denoted by two terms, Nishkama Karma and Parartha Karma. The first is favored by Vedantins and the second is favored by Bhaktas. On analysis, both these terms mean the same thing. Whoever conducts yajna will succeed in knowing the Parabrahman, the ultimate truth. For one to visualize the Brahman, he should make attempts to keep this wheel in motion constantly. This wheel has a number of divisions, like dharma, methods of sadhana, various organizations, systems, and so on. The damage caused to any of these divisions will lead to the collapse of the wheel itself.
That night, Jayalakshmi analyzed from different angles in great detail what she had said that even scholars would not imagine. Finally, she said,
"It was meant to happen."
This statement confused Satyanarayana. He acknowledged that he had committed a mistake and was ashamed of himself. Mother did not take his confusion seriously. Satyanarayana wondered,
Am I not responsible for what I did? Had someone else been making me do what he wanted, and I was not aware of it? If that is so, have I been an idiot to let him make me do all his work? How could I receive the fruits of those actions? But I have received the fruits, haven't I? I did rejoice that I had won, and Mother told me off that I did something wrong. Now finally, she says, it all happened because it had to happen this way. But she wouldn't tell me who did this.
So many such questions and doubts arose in his mind. Mother did not give him any opportunity to put any questions to her. By the time Satyanarayana was 10, Mother had already taught him many shastras. At the end of each sitting, she would finish in such a way that he would be left with a number of philosophical doubts to analyze. He was learning something new every day. In the past, he used to get excited on hearing what she was saying, but of late, his head was getting heavier with analysis of what she had said. He started to be less mischievous. He attended school regularly, but was not making good progress in his studies. He was probably doing better when he was not going to school and skipping classes. On such days, he managed to learn 10 days' worth of lessons and recite them to the teacher. But when he started regularly going to the classes, he found it difficult to even look at the books and read. Even in sports, his team stopped winning. In the past, he would be angry when his friends teased him. But these days, he just remained indifferent.